Just making sure I look normal. I hope I do. Someone who's got so much self-doubt, I'm always self-conscious, overly self-conscious. So, see, now I'm self-conscious that I'm touching my face. um, Today, I wanted to do a talk about hope and how I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I can actually have some hope, and how hope has been the thing that sort of got me through difficult times. So, usually, okay, so what if people who watch these streams know, I start the stream um with a talk about my week. Hey, how you going, Red Rose? Um, and I talk about what I've been going through that week, and then I talk about something, and then we go chat. So anyone who's here, we have an awesome chat afterwards. So, um, I have put up a few videos this week because I've gone through some major life-changing things this week. I I decided to make a shift and change my thinking, which I've been working towards that, and so that's hopefully going to enable this change. Um, but I had to actually consciously make that a thing, and make it something like an aspiration. And people say aspirations don't work, but I do believe that they do work. You talk your way through something, you think about it, and you ask yourself to it's the same thing as what I do when I write things down and I make a list. That's what helps me make it happen. So for me, writing something down on a list is like an affirmation. So, um, it was a massive week this week. Um, I dealing with personal problems in my life, and then also um, realizing that I had to make a change and recalibrate, regather myself, and you know, I understood that I had to really basically start again, but it's not starting again because of everything that I've done up to this point has allowed me to get to this point. So I'm really confident. I have hope. So that's something I do. I have hope that I can make it through this next stage, and this next stage is not really ready yet. Like I said, I processed one of the most major traumas of my childhood this week, and I'm so glad that I've actually gone through that. And again, that was not I wasn't expecting that to happen. So, um, I'm going to take it easy for a while, but it has worked. I'm not getting flashbacks, and whenever I process a trauma, I actually test it out. So I consciously think about it, and then I think about the whole picture of it, like not just the event or the events, what it's done to me, what I've lost from it. And so the biggest thing for me is that because this was so long ago, and it's been such a profound effect on me in my life. I feel like I've lost so much. I've lost so much time, but I can't dwell on that fact. I have to just move on and keep moving forward and be so thankful and grateful that I'm at this point now in my life where I've got to this point and I can move forward. Um, so I've got a psychologist appointment in a few weeks, and when I have that appointment, I've already decided that there's two traumas that I want to process in that um, meeting consultation session. Sorry. So between now and then, I'm just going to focus on self care and doing everything I need to do, my responsibilities around the house, and focus on the self care, and you know be kind to myself, in this next few weeks, because I have, for what happens to me when I process a trauma, because it could be different for everyone else, but for what happens to me is that I get a massive relief as and so what happened was, is again, same thing happened with the last one. I had a massive deep sleep afterwards, and now my insomnia is easing. So I was able to actually get to bed at a reasonable time last night, and I was able to get up at a reasonable time. So I feel like that's something that is really good that I've gotten to that point with that. But I do know that over the next few weeks, all of these emotions are going to be arising, and I just have to roll with it, as a friend tells me, just roll with it. So that's what I'm doing. It's been a massive week and productive week as far as my own personal stuff. It hasn't been a productive week for my responsibilities, because I'll show you. This is my diary for the last week. So nothing got written in it. And so that shows you. And so that's what happens when, that's the good thing about having a diary. You can go back through it and flick through and go, yep, I can see why there was nothing going on there. So next week, it will be the opposite. It'll be the whole pay. Each day will be filled with stuff, because I'm able to get to that, do that. So just looking at them, what notes. So yeah, I'm at the stage now, and I'm talking about my trauma. I'm talking about my healing through it, and what I'm doing, what's not working, what does work. It might get boring for people if I just keep going over the same things, but I have to, because this is for me. And if other people can get something from it, then that's awesome. Because I'm talking about what doesn't work as well. So, like I said, I'm going to go easy on myself, because I only have I've got a few weeks before my next psychologist appointment, and that's when I'm going to go through these uh, remaining major traumas. And so that means once I've got past that stage, then I've only got all these little things, and some of the things are very painful, um, because they're sort of things that stretched out over long periods of time. But they're not the processing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about processing serious events that cause me a lot of pain, and that I get flashbacks from, and I have for so long. Um, yeah, so with hope, for me, like that's what's got me through this year. Having hope, being bedridden and like writing poetry with a torchlight. That was me giving hope to myself. That was my hope, and it's all I could do at that point. And by having hope at that time, I was able to just bit by bit progress. And you look, people say it's a waste to hope, to have hope in something, because you'll be let down. But that's all we have, is that things aren't gonna, then they're not always gonna work out. And in most cases they don't work out. And that's why not having expectations but still having hope is such a powerful thing. And so I have hope for myself, and that hope I have for myself, it comes from the people that watch my videos and comment and join the chats and give me all this support. You know, I'm lucky to have support from family as well, as my primary. But this, what's happening here, and what I'm getting from people, is giving me strength and courage, which for someone who has low self-esteem and low self-worth and self-sabotages and or has, I'm breaking all that. So I'm going through a major shift and change. So it's taken me all these failures to realize that I don't have to fail, that I can succeed. And I understand that with what I'm doing, things are still going to take a lot of time. So I'm going to be patient, but in a few weeks I'll have processed the remaining of the major traumas, which is a massive milestone for me. And this is because I've been doing this work over several years. A couple of years ago, I went through a formal forgiving process where I sacrificed my time and I put a lot of effort into something, and I consciously made it a forgiving. I was making it up as I went. It was like my own process, the way what I was doing, and it didn't work out with a lot of it, but it did work out in the end that I was able to move on from that. But that was one that I put so much effort into, and because what happened is that there was just too much going on, and that's when it collapsed for me, and I became unwell, and so now I've gone through that. I've managed to and for me it's like it didn't work at the time when I got through this process, like this forgiveness thing that I did. It was very formal. I made it people around me aware that I was doing this, and I was consciously making an effort to give. I gave as much as I could, as in order to forgive something that had happened to me, and it wasn't necessarily taken as a positive thing by others, and that affected me. And I think that's where I thought I failed. But now I can look back and I can say that it did work, and that I no longer have the flashbacks from this event, and it no longer gives me pain. So I am hopeful, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to sort of do these chats and live streams and document and talk about what I'm doing, because I that was it to me, that and it was a thing that sort of it was over a whole year where I basically formally made it a thing where I'm going to forgive the people that did this thing, that put me in this situation, and I'm going to forgive them and move on. And when it felt like it didn't work, when it felt like it was actually being turned back against me, it felt like all the energy that I'd put into it was a waste of time. But now, looking back, I know it wasn't. So I'm glad that I actually went through that. It was like self-sacrifice in order to forgive others. And people would say that's just stupid, you know. And I think it might be stupid what I did, because um, but it allowed me to move on. And so that's something I found, and that's from what I've found reading, is that there are, the individual has different ways that they can process a trauma, and then to let go of it and then move on. And it's not going to stop the pain. It's not going to. I will still get. I don't. I'm not getting flashbacks from this one that I'm talking about, and this has now been almost a year from when it finally collapsed on me. So um, I'm not getting flashbacks from it anymore, and I can think about it, and I'm not getting the pain from it, and it's not affecting my nervous system anymore. I still get that from other traumas that I get triggered. I still get that effect, but this worked, and I had to. I I sacrificed so much in order to do this, and it seemed silly what I was doing, and it, it didn't really work, but it did. That's the beauty of it. So I didn't fail. In the end, it's not a failure. It's actually a success. And it was basically it got my. That's when my life crumbled and fell apart, and I became unwell at that point. But now I've gone through then the aftermath of my life falling apart. Like I spent time in hospital, and then I um, had all the difficulties of the time after that, and that's then I'd become bedridden, and then I slowly got back to moving again. So it's been a massive this year. It's coming up to a year now. So it's and so it's been several years because this forgiveness um, process that I was doing was it happened over a year. So there's 2 years there, and so well, no, it's actually 3 years because the forgiveness thing went for about a year, and then I spent about a year in this limbo state, and that's when I progressively became unwell, and that's when it resulted in um, me losing control of myself. Then I had to go through then this stretched out aftermath of that by then being put in hospital for a few weeks and then recovering from that, recovering from the effect of that because it was a very negative thing. It was the worst thing for me. And but I've made it from there to there to there to there to here to right now, which is such an amazing thing. And so I have that's where I have hope is that I've got to this point here. I now only have a few more traumas of the major traumas that I have to process, and I test out all the ones that I have processed to this point, and I'm no longer getting flashbacks. I'm no longer being for those things. It's not stopping the rest of it, and that's why I'm still not. I'm still got a long way to go, but I know I can get there. I've got hope. Um, like that's sort of all I really wanted to talk about myself and the week. Um, I am so excited, and I'm so excited that I've got to this point, and that I have a future. You know, so I had almost lost hope for the future, and I kept it. I kept a little bit of glimmer of hope. You know, and that's what's allowed me to just persevere and survive until now. I'm at a point where I can basically start really doing the work and getting my health back on track and creating a new future for myself, you know. So a year ago, I thought there was I'd almost lost all hope for my future. Whereas now, I'm excited for the future, but I'm living in the present, and that's something that I've become more aware of. Because what happened is after I'd done this sort of formal forgiveness thing that lasted a year, I was lost, you know, and that it progressively got worse. But now it's better. So I'm so grateful to be here right now and be able to speak to you all and to have a positive outlook. And I do understand things are going to be difficult, but I've just got to roll with it, as they say. So, I don't really have too much more to say on that, like, because I'm still a little bit fragile at the moment, having gone through processing like just last week, and it wasn't one of the major ones. And so I know that over the next few weeks, I'm going to be out of nowhere. There'll be emotions, so I have to focus and be present and make sure I don't go in the wrong direction with anything, so that I stay on the path. So like a major thing for me. You know, um, and I've said this over and over. Thank you to everyone who's supporting me here, because you know I I'm I talk about, oh, all these things happen to me. I'm not crying out for people to feel sorry for me, and I'm not trying to say, look, I'm a victim of all this stuff. I'm just saying that I've experienced all this stuff and it's affected me, and I'm learning how to let go of and process, and I'm learning how to repair my body and my nervous system and my mind, and open my heart again, because that's something that has been squashed. So I am so thankful for all the support that I get, and I like to think that um, people that have come to these streams have been able to become friends, or started friendships, and that it's given them a place where they can feel comfortable and safe to talk about what they've gone through. And that's what's happened in a lot, in the chats. When we do the chats, they could go anywhere. So, like, sometimes we're just having fun, joking about stuff, and talking about anything, and other times we talk about how we help each other, or what works for us for healing and for living with the condition. So I never know where the chat's going to go, and I look forward to a fun chat tonight. Um, you know, the beauty of these chats is, once it starts, it can go into all these different directions, because that's just the nature of conversations. Um, so next week, I'm going to make sure that my diary is full, you know, and it's okay that last week it was empty. I achieved so much last week, and like I was just saying before, I have to be kind to myself in the next few weeks, and be aware. I have to keep monitoring what's going on around me, and my own state, and um, be present and be in control, and to know when I have to step back, or know when I have to step forward. So, um, yeah, that's that's basically all I've got for my talking about me, and even just talking about hope. I mean, I could talk about it further, but I worry, as someone who's just sitting here in front of the camera. Everything, like, here I'm scratching myself. Oh, that's, it's a habit. I worry about what I say, whether it's interesting or whether I'm saying the right things, because I'm very conscious that I don't want to be um, giving people false hope, for instance. You know, That's a great thing. See, I'm self-conscious because I'm scratching myself. Um, I'm very aware of all that, and that's why I try and make it that I'm not giving advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing and how I'm, what's happening, what works and what doesn't work. So, but as far as hope goes, I have hope for myself now, and even, you know, um, I know that I know that I'm getting towards the end of the major traumas, and then after that, things are just going to get better over the next few years. I know it's still going to take years. It's not a overnight process at all. Um, for instance, because of what I went through last year when I had a mental breakdown, and I won't go into details, but like I have talked about this in videos, and um, I'm living with the ramifications of that still, and it's coming up to the first anniversary of that night when I lost control of myself. Um, and I have to reassure people around me that I am okay, and that um, it's never going to that's never going to happen again. And because it's such a severe thing, people are worried for me, and or are worried that it is. And statistically, people that go through that, um, there's a percentage of people that go through it again. But I don't think that's the case. And I think that's also because I've been doing this work over. It's really been only in the last four 4 months probably where I was actually able to start the process and really learn as much as I could, and so here's something that before go to the chat, like here's something that I want to do with these live streams, and I hope people like the idea and are wanting to do this with me, go through this with me, is that because I'm studying mindfulness course, um, and I'm learning the practices, and I need to practice. So I need to practice how to do it, and I practice on my own, but I need to practice teaching mindfulness as to do mindfulness. So before I become a teacher, which I can do after about 6 months, then you're able to be a teacher. And if you've been practicing every day for 6 months, you are good enough then to actually teach other people. But what I've been told by my teacher is that you need to practice on people before you become a teacher. Practice. So if people are willing to do this with me, um, I would really like to um, maybe start a stream or do some special streams where we actually go through mindfulness practices together, and I guide you through the process. So I'm excited for that, and I really think it's going to be fun to do. And because we've got this live thing, we can actually sit there and be present, and I can guide you through some mindfulness practices. So, you know, if what I'll do is I really love this idea, because it will give me the opportunity to practice. You know, I could practice imagining someone's there, but if there are real people there watching the stream, then it's experience for me. So would have really appreciated, and you as the individual will get something out of it because you'll learn a each time I'll do a practice, you will be learning that practice yourself, and then you can then go do that you can do that exercise or practice yourself anytime. So I mean, I think this is awesome, and I only realized this today, sort of thing, that this is something that I should do because it's what I've been told to do by my teacher. If I want to become a teacher, a trainer, I need to do 6 months of practice and solid practice. And over that 6 months, I need to practice on other people as much as I can, so that when, so that I can do it, basically. So I think maybe I'll start with doing just simple breathing exercises. So maybe next time we do a live stream, maybe after I do the chat section before, no, sorry, after I do the talking section at the beginning, like I'm doing now, I'll say, okay, so if anyone's ready to do a mindfulness practice with me, I'll guide you through a mindfulness practice and I'll teach you about it. And then you'll be able to practice that exercise yourself. And I know that they're working for me so much. I'm doing over an hour practice a day now. So if people like that idea, I'll do it. So I'm pretty much finished with talking about myself and where I'm at, and um, but it has been a massive week for me. I processed one of the most major traumas, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do that. And I'm now at a point where I'm ready to move forward. Like I'm actually smiling, even though it doesn't look like I'm smiling. I'm like I can feel the smile on my face, even though it's not maybe not evident. So that's everything I had on my list. I didn't have much to talk about, and I get very self conscious, like I'm that that I'm always talking about my problems. Who wants to hear someone's problems? But that's the point of what I'm doing, really. I'm talking about my problems and working through them. I get self-conscious that, I talk too long about this to myself, but maybe I just need to not worry about that and be confident that, people, and I do get feedback from people that they appreciate it. So uh, I, I realize that I am doing things well, or doing them the right, or I'm doing okay. As long as I'm doing okay, that's the main thing. If, so yeah, I'm ready to start the chat. Red Rose is here. Um, how you going, Red Rose? Red Rose says yes, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you. And I see Roma's here as well. How you going, Roma? Roma has the rose emoji, so she's there saying hello to Rose, or he. See. I don't know whether people are male or female. So I find out over time. They might, but I don't. I, um, I just said she, and Roma's a male or female. It does you don't have to tell me anyway. You're just Roma. How you go? I'm glad you're here. See, I'm getting self conscious again. I'm getting worried that I'm saying the wrong thing. So I just have to not worry about that stuff and just keep doing what I'm doing. Because really, this is just as much about people that can come here and share their experiences and what works for them and just have a conversation, as much as it is for me going through documenting my progress in the healing process and learning about healing. So yeah, Red Rose, I'm just reading the comments now, and these comments were written while I was doing my talk. But Red Rose says that's wonderful. Yes, we must have always have hope. That's awesome. Yeah, we do. Like even when it feels like there is none there, and you feel hopeless, or the situation feels hopeless. Just having the smallest amount of hope is can be the thing that keeps you going. And and you know, I think there's something in that. You know, Red Rose says yes, hope. It is that thing. You, it could seem like there's no way. It could seem like just things getting better as being impossible, but the hope is what reminds you that it's not impossible. It's just difficult, and you can't just have hope. You have you have to back it up by doing the work. You know, but having hope might be what gets you out of bed in the morning rather than losing another day. So, um, Red Rose says, yes, you always do great job, my friend. Thank you. Because you know how self conscious I am about all this stuff. You know, I worry too much, and I've got to learn to stop worrying. You know, um, I catastrophize. I think the worst of that. I think the worst could happen, and so what I'm doing when I do that is I'm making it worse for myself because I'm creating a situation where I've denied hope, and I'm just making it worse for myself. And so by projecting that, it it makes it so that the chance of a good outcome is much less. So Red Rose says yes. Roma's got the thumbs up. How you going, Roma? It's good to see you here. Red Rose says, yeah, hello, Roma. Roma's got the rose. Red Rose says, doing good with roses. Luke, you're doing great, Luke. Thank you. You know, um, so we got like 4 people here watching. Like, I mean, the beauty of these things too is this is, you know, for a lot of people, like I'm isolated, and so this is breaking my isolation. You know, I the only people I speak to is my immediate family. So I'm practicing speaking because I used to be very social and I used to talk a lot, and then I sort of, because I withdrew myself from society, I felt like I was starting to lose the ability to speak, and so this is helping me. So I want to thank you all, but also at the same time, I want people to know that they can be here enjoying the stream, and they don't have to talk. They don't have to be in the chat. We appreciate you being here, and and I understand. We understand that, um, you know, it's, you don't have to, but if you are here and you want to join the chat, please, you know. um, Red Rose says yes, exactly, 100%. That's it. So I mean, what else, I mean, I can keep going on about like what I went through this week because it was profound. um, I had to go through repairing damaged relationships, um, in my personal private life, um, and that's very difficult. um, and then one thing I'm really grateful for now is my insomnia is finally sort of broken. You know, I managed to get to sleep at a regular, not a regular time, but a decent time last night, and I feel like I'm going to be able to do that again now. So after having over a week of insomnia, um, I feel so good that that's alleviated. And I'm, I've got an empty week. So my goal for this week is to go see the sunset twice at least, and um, you know, even if I wanted to get out of the house, I sort of can't leave the house much at the moment because of my responsibilities. But I can time it with my dad so that he's going to be home at the right time. So I will get to two sunsets, and I do those recordings. So and I put them up on YouTube. Them like my nature therapy stuff, and I people appreciate them. So I'll make sure that that'll be my self care for this week. It will be going to watch two sunsets because last week I didn't, and so I missed out. Um, what else I've got to do this week? I need to do some work on my ute. It's parked under trees, so it gets covered in sap and mold from the trees. There's another thing I've got to do this week. So this is sounds silly, right? I'm doing a live stream and I'm writing down. I'm going to write down in my diary things for the week. I'll do my to-do list. So sunset tomorrow. I'll do the ute in the morning, and I also got to paint the handrails. Dad did most of the work, but I helped him build handrails for the steps for Mum. And I put the first coat on today, so I'll do the second coat tomorrow. So I'll write down painting. I really need to exercise. So what I'll do is I'll put exercise down. I'll put walk every day. And if I get to do it every day, that's good. Um, I only did that for the weekdays because I've got anxiety. I don't like going places when there's too many people around. So this is really great. I appreciate the opportunity to be sitting here in front of a camera, writing down what I want to do, what I need to do for the week. Yeah, I mean, it sounds so mundane, it sounds silly, but because I've written walk every day for the weekdays, that gives me a reason to try and do it at least. And you know, even if it's just down the street and turn around and walk back, you know, um, I don't I don't need to write down do my mindfulness practice because that's something that's part of my whole thing. Um, but I'm getting a lot out of doing this course. I would say to anyone who's watching this video, if you've got complex post traumatic stress disorder, mindfulness is the best thing. And it's not for everyone, but it could be meditation, and it is meditation basically. You know, it's just a different version of it. You know, and it's something that once you develop the practice and the skill, it's something that you carry with you, and it becomes your whole life because you become mindful ongoing. So you start to live in the present, and that's such an important thing for people that get flashbacks and disassociate. No, sorry, dissociate. I always get those two mixed up. So that um, it's so beneficial because I have spent most. This is the saddest thing. I've spent the greater portion of my life dissociated and in a traumatized state. I don't know what the percentage of time is, but it's a lot. And if I wish I knew about mindfulness 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it would have changed my life. But I'm not going to dwell on the fact that I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know how powerful it is. But I'm starting to get a lot of benefit. So the main benefits I'm getting so far is I'm able to um, I'm I'm currently only practicing 9 exercises, and that's enough for now. I got to master those, and once I've really mastered them, I can then start to learn more. But they are the core exercises to do. But the benefits I'm getting already are so good because, um, for instance, one of the mindfulness exercises is forgiveness, and it gives you the opportunity to think about and focus on a particular person or people, and while you're in that meditative mindfulness state, you're able to process it. So it's so powerful, and each time I do this exercise and I do it over and over, it's a different person or a different situation that I'm um, trying to deal with. Um, and another one is just that difficult think something that's difficult or uneasy for you. And so you get into that relaxed state with your breathing, and then when you're in that state, that's when you focus on something that is a problem in your life, and you don't try and solve it, you just accept it. So a big part of mindfulness is non-judgment, and so allowing things to pass. I've had benefit from being triggered, and this is only just starting to happen now because I'm only just starting to actually being able to focus. So when I first started learning mindfulness properly with this course, I couldn't focus. I was going through too much at the time, and it was just too difficult. But eventually, I was able to break past that and to focus. And it is amazing. Like when you actually, I guess it's like meditation. When it starts to work, you get really excited because you see how awesome it is, you know. And and I'm just so excited about it. I'm so glad that I decided to do this course. It was a spur of the moment type thing. I happened to have money in my bank account at the time. My bank account's usually sitting on zero, and I happened to have money in that bank account. And I thought about it, and I thought, this is something I can do now. I and it's going to give me benefits now, and it is. So I'm so glad that how things like this just happen in your life sometimes, and that's what happened with this. It just happened. You know, I didn't expect it to happen, but I'd been learning about it, and I kept hearing from the people talking about healing, like for instance Pete Walker in his book. Mindfulness is a massive aspect to his healing. So, and I can tell you, it's working for me, working so well, and it's only just going to get better. So I'm excited to actually. I'm asking everyone, that watches these videos, if they're interested in letting me practice, be a trainer. I would be honored to be able to guide people through some mindfulness practices and teach them the practices, and then they can go and do them themselves, And of course, you can just look up YouTube videos and find them that way as well. So you don't have to do a course in mindfulness. You can read books, or you can just start by doing the YouTube um, versions of these meditations and practices. But I really like the idea of doing it live like this. So sitting here, So okay, can I do one now? Can I practice right now? I'm not. I think I'm ready enough to practice, or to do this. So if we got 4 people in the stream watching right now, so you can or can not. It's up to you. Yes, Red Rose says yes. Awesome. So what I'll do is I'll just do a simple breathing exercise. And awesome. Red Rose says go for it. So I'll do a simple breathing exercise. So whoever's watching this, make sure you're sitting in a comfortable position. You can lie down for this. So if you can lie down and just listen to my voice, if you can do that, because some of these mindfulness practices are really beneficial to be done while lying down. But so if you're sitting in a chair, try and sit in the chair so that your back's straight and your shoulders are back, but you don't have to be so forcing yourself to have like a perfect posture. Just sit comfortably, but sit with your shoulders with your back straight enough and your shoulders back enough so that you've got a decent position, and be comfortable in that position and relax, and then rest your arms on your legs. And if you're lying down, rest your arms to the side of your body. You don't want your arms over your chest or your belly, because this is a breathing exercise, and it's very simple. So I can take you through this process right now. So if you're sitting in your chair, you can close your eyes. It works better to have your eyes closed when you're doing mindfulness practices, unless it's an open-eyed practice. So close your eyes, and while I'm just listen to my voice, and I'll just talk to you, and I'll explain as we go and just guide you through. And what we'll do is we'll do a few minutes of mindful breathing. And you can learn this practice just by remembering because it is a very simple one. And it may not work the first time. For me, it didn't work for many times until it finally started working, and now it works for me. It's rare that it doesn't work for me. So if you close your eyes, have your arms resting on your legs. I'm sitting cross-legged at the moment. It's comfortable for me. I won't be closing my eyes because I'm guiding you through this process. But close your eyes. Just breathe normally and relaxed. Breathing is a natural, automatic function of living, and it is the core aspect to what makes living. We breathe air. If we don't breathe air, then we die. So it's automatic. We don't have to think about it. With mindfulness, you're thinking about it, and you're applying your focus towards a particular thing. Or in mindfulness, you could also be opening your mind to allow thoughts to emerge. But for this practice that we're doing today is simple breathing practice. So you rest your arms on your leg, you close your eyes, you start breathing just calmly, right? Just naturally. You're not trying to breathe, but you're starting to become aware of the breath. And I breathe with my diaphragm, which not everyone does. So if you can breathe with your diaphragm, do that. So just keep breathing, and there's nothing special about this. It's very simple. It's not about timing the breath. It's about focusing on the breath. So just let the in breath and out breath just happen naturally. But as it's happening, be aware of it. Okay, so be aware of the air that's going when you breathe in, inhale. Be aware of the air going, and I do this practice with my mouth closed. So you're breathing through your nose. The air's going in through the nose and down into the lungs, and so with each breath, be aware of the air and the passage of air, and become aware of your lungs expanding as you breathe in, and then collapsing as you breathe out. So now what will happen is you will be thinking about other things. That's okay. That's what happens to our minds. We get overwhelmed with thoughts. So if you start thinking about not the breathing, that's okay. Try and bring it back. So you're just breathing naturally. You're not trying to do anything special here. And you're not trying to breathe too fast or too slow. You're just breathing. No pause when you breathe in. Just it's natural. We don't naturally hold our breath unless we're swimming. So just breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And just do it to your natural rhythm. You'll find your natural breathing rhythm. And it is a slow, gentle rhythm. Try to take full breaths of air, but don't over breathe. Don't try and take in too much air. So now I've explained the process. I'll start to go into more detail. So as you're just breathing right now start to become aware of the actual breath itself. So become aware of your lungs expanding and collapsing, compressing. Become aware of your stomach rising and falling as you breathe. Again, if you start thinking about something else, could be anything. If your thoughts are getting diverted from the breath, that's okay. Just bring them back. It's very difficult. It takes time, but when your mind starts to wander off, just come back to the breath and just keep breathing calmly and smoothly. And you don't have to think about the actual breathing itself because it is automatic. So just let it happen. When you're breathing in, breathe in and focus on the air traveling through into your nose and down your throat into your lungs as it expands your lungs. And become aware of, on the exhale, become aware of the air itself, the passage of air, exhaling. So each breath now that you have these things to focus on, keep this natural breathing. Don't try too much. Just let it happen. Focus on the breath itself. As you're breathing, focus on the air going down into your lungs and then coming back up out of your lungs again. So just focus on that. While you're doing that, also notice that your stomach is expanding and contracting, just as your lungs are. So if you're starting to think about things while you're doing this breath work, that's okay. It takes a long time to be able to focus solely on the breath, but that's all we're doing. We're just breathing in, and we're breathing out. And while we're doing this, we're focusing on the actual breath itself, the air going in down into your lungs expanding, and then breathing out, your lungs contracting, and the air traveling out through your nose. So just keep doing that. Imagine that passage of air. Imagine the breath itself. As you're breathing, the breath itself is the passage of air that is going down into your lungs, and then you're breathing out and it's expressing. So imagine that passage of air. Focus on that. So as you breathe in, the air goes down into your lungs. It sits in your lungs for that brief moment, and then you breathe out, and the air travels out of your nose, and that is your out breath. That is you breathing out. So just keep doing that and keep focusing on the breath itself, on the air itself. You can notice while you're doing this, just keep it calm and continual, because breathing is just a natural thing that we all do. But what we're doing here is we're putting focus and attention towards the breath itself. So you could be distracted by hearing my voice. That can be distracting. Try not to be distracted by my voice. If you can do this while I'm still talking, that means that you're able to focus quite intently. So now that I've explained to you what you need to focus on and where you need to direct your attention, we'll do a minute of breathing where we focus on the breath, the air going in, and the air going out. And the difference, the out breath is warmer. You notice this. You can't help but notice it. Once you become aware of the breath, you notice what it is doing. So we'll do a minute of breathing, and then we'll finish up. Okay, that was good. I think we can end the practice now. So gently return to the room and open your eyes when it feels comfortable. And keep breathing in that comfortable, relaxed way. It's not it's not like you're trying to breathe anything differently. This is focusing on the breath itself. So I'm really grateful to have just done that. I had no expectation that I was going to do that. And then as I was talking to you all, I said, well, why don't I try it now? And I got feedback saying, yeah, go for it. So for anyone that was there with me, I hope that you could understand what I was trying to explain, and that as you were doing the breathing, that you're doing the focus. Red Rose says, wow, thank you so much, Luke. Awesome. And this took me weeks of doing it every day before I actually cracked it, but once you master mindful breathing, it is such a powerful thing for calming the nervous system. So if you've got PTSD or CPTSD or hypervigilance or anything where anxiety, anything where you become dysregulated, you can do the breathing exercise and you'll calm your nervous system. And it's as simple as being aware of the breath itself. And while you're being aware of the breath, you're not thinking about other things. That's the hardest thing, is that you you start breathing and suddenly all these thoughts pop into your head. So the idea is that you are focusing on the breath and nothing else, just the breath. So that's awesome. Just the main takeaways for that is just remember, you're not trying to do anything different or special with the breathing. It's focusing on the air going into your lungs, and it's focusing on your lungs expanding and your stomach rising and falling, and the air as it travels out. So keep doing this. Do it every day and breathe for as long as you can. It can be a few minutes or it could be 10 minutes. You could extend it out and do an extended breathing session. The longer is not necessarily the better. A few minutes is long enough. The main thing is being able to attain focus and attention while you're doing this. So even if you do it for 2 minutes, that's long enough to calm yourself down. So what they found is with in research into um, neuroscience and psychology and our thoughts, is that if you're distressed or you're worried about something or triggered, so if something triggers you, if you can calm yourself down and remain calm for a minute or two, but just a minute is even enough. That's enough time to re-regulate your nervous system, lower your heart rate. So it's very, very powerful exercise, and it's one of the main core initial exercises, is being able to focus on the breath and to train yourself to, if you start wandering off thinking about other things, just return back to the breath. Just keep coming back to the breath and imagining the air going down through the passages down into your lungs. And so you imagine the air itself, the breath itself. You know, you can focus on the lungs or the stomach in the breath. You don't have to focus on the air going down in and out. You can focus on the lungs. or you can focus on the nostrils, because it's different as you breathe in, and then it's different to when you breathe out. So the air is different. It's the in-breath and the out-breath. And all you're doing is focusing on it. And because breathing is a natural thing that we do unconsciously, it's an automatic thing. So what you're doing is you're switching to making it mindful. You're focusing on the automatic. You're not trying to control it. And that's what I was explaining before, is that you're just breathing naturally and calmly. There's nothing special about what you're doing. What you want to try and do is to have a gentle rhythm with it. That's about it. And then as you're breathing, you're focusing on the breath itself, and you're keeping that focus. And whenever your mind drifts off, just come back to the breath. Just remind yourself, no, I'm thinking about all this other stuff. I've got to think about the breathing. And over time, you will be able to stay focused on the breath, and you'll be able to return to the focus and attention faster the more you do this practice. So that's it. It's simple. And you can do this every day, a couple of times a day. Now you know how to do it. There's many breathing exercises out there, and a lot that require holding, counting, and that's mindful as well. But this is such a powerful one because it gets you to that calm state. So if you're triggered by something and your heart's racing or you're anxious about something, do the breathing. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes, and you will become calm afterwards. And just understand that it does take time and practice to be able to just focus on the breath itself. It took me weeks of doing it every day, but now I can do the practice, and I can focus on the breath, and I can not drift off. I can keep my mind focused on the present, on what's happening, and you're becoming aware of it. So thank you for being here with this. This is really special for me. So whoever's here, that whether you were participants or not, thank you for allowing me to practice this, because this was the very first time I ever went through a mindfulness practice with anyone ever. So I am honored to have been able to do that. And so one thing, thank you, Red Rose. Red Rose says this was marvelous with the roses, 100%. So, now that I've attained the ability to do this breathing without letting, it still happens where thoughts will emerge, and I'll disappear from the practice, and I have to bring myself back. But I'm getting better at it now, And look, if you're in a state of anxiety or stress, it will be difficult to do, because something's just happened, and all you'll be doing is you'll be thinking about it, and you can't get it out of your mind. So by doing this, you're allowing that thought that is there troubling you to disappear, and it will calm you down. So that was awesome. That was really good. Like, that we just got to do that. I had no expectation or didn't think that was going to happen. But then I thought, why not? Let's do it. So what we do is, now after we've just, whoever participated in that, um, feel free to talk in the chat and tell us what you experienced. Um, was it difficult for you to focus on just the breath? And I'm sure that that's probably the case. Did you find yourself thinking about other things? That's probably the case, you know, because it does take time. But now you know how to do it. It's very simple, you know, and you can use this whenever you need it. You can just you can't really do it standing up. You've got to be seated or lying down. But yeah, it's such a simple thing. And once you've especially once you've cracked it, and you'll know when you've cracked it. You'll be like, it works. It works. You know, it's you because you've achieved something. What you've done is you've actually um, been able to maintain conscious, focused attention and redirect that attention when it goes off. You've been able to bring it back. And so Red Rose says, yeah, I enjoyed it very much. Red Rose continues, I actually went through it very well. Awesome. See, that's good. Some feedback. And so you probably have practice in breathing too. Like so oh, that sounds funny because we all breathe. We all have to breathe. But yeah, um, that's really good. Red Rose says that the hugs emojis. Red Rose says you did a fabulous job, 100%. Awesome, thank you. So I'm honoured to have just done that just then. And remember, you know how to do this exercise now. You know, there's not too much you got to remember. So you can keep practicing this, and you'll get benefits from it. So Red Rose has got the praising hands. So now I've just done that. How do you feel? Do you feel relaxed? Because I only did the breathing myself at the end of it because I was talking through the most of it. So I only did 1 minute of it at the end, and I feel relaxed from that. So it does relax you, it calms you, and it's really powerful. Totally relaxed. So what do you reckon? Like I try and next week I do another exercise. If people are totally relaxed, says Red Rose. That's awesome. So yeah, maybe next week I'll do another exercise. Maybe I'll yes, awesome, says Red Rose. Yes. What I'll do next week is I'll do the same exercise, the breathing exercise, but I will do this more advanced breathing exercise. So it's the same thing with a few things added in. And again, once you do that, one you know, and practice it, it's it is literally life changing, and it has been for me. So it's enabled me to, in these past few weeks, go from being really stressed out and not in a good place, whether it's being triggered or anxiety or being upset by something. Um, I've taken that time to do the work, and you know you can extend it out if you can do it for 10 minutes. or 15 minutes, that's great. You can even do it for longer, but you only need, like, you can get the benefits from just doing it a few minutes. So it's so powerful, and once you master just those initial breathing exercises, they then become sort of fundamental aspects to then learning other mindfulness exercises, because it's all connected to the breath. We all breathe. It's our life force, it's our life energy. you know we inhale, we exhale. So Red Rose says, yeah, whatever you choose, excellent. That's it. I'm excited to do that. you know so yeah, next week we'll do it again, and then the following week, um you know I'll introduce another exercise. And so part of it is afterwards, going back through what you just did, and um, talking about it. Red Rose says, "Yay with the flowers." That's so awesome. Thumbs up. So Red Rose, you seem to be the only one in the chat at the moment. Like, there's 3 people here, and that's fine. You don't all have to be in the chat. You can just watch. Don't feel like you have to. We appreciate you just being here. But I do know that Red Rose just did the exercise, so I'm just going to keep asking you about it. So Red Rose, when you were breathing, were you able to um, stay focused? Did you find yourself drifting off and start thinking about things, or was it just naturally able to work for you? Were there difficulties for you? Or, I know you said it worked well, so that's it. Thumbs up. So yeah, the bigger it's such a simple thing, but it has such. Red Rose says, yes, I was able to stay focused. That's really good to hear. So what I do, I imagine the air. So as it's going in, I'm imagining the actual air itself. So I'm thinking of what is the breath itself. Red Rose says it was amazing. That's awesome. I feel calm now, right now, and I only did the breathing bit at the end because I was talking as the guide. So you know, and so you only need a minute, but really 2 minutes minimum. If you can do it for 2 minutes, and 2 minutes is something that you can, if something stresses you out, you can be in the middle of a conversation with someone, and all you have to say is, I just need to go sit down somewhere for a minute. I'll be back. And then you go and sit down, do that process, and it's calmed you down. And then you can go back and speak to that, continue with what you're doing. So that was awesome. Like, literally, that was my first experience of um, being a trainer, or teaching, being a teacher, and sharing how to do the process. And so Red Rose says, I'll give you 5 stars. That's awesome. That gives me confidence, that really does. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited now because, next week we'll do the extended breathing, the little bit more in depth. And so once you do that exercise, then you keep doing it, you'll be well equipped to start your journey into mindfulness. And you don't. I'm doing a course where I paid to do it. You can buy a book or watch YouTube videos. You don't have to pay to start learning to do mindfulness. Red Rose says your first session was great! Exclamation marks. Thank you so much. Red Rose says, yeah, you've got this, and you're a natural at teaching this. Thank you so much. This is awesome praise. Like, and it's giving me so much confidence. This is something I could actually, I could become a trainer and teacher. 2 months ago, I had no idea this. I had no idea I would be sitting here right now doing mindfulness training. Now I am. How good is that? Life just happens. You never know where you're going to end up, but if you keep if you're open to things, then it will allow you to have these things will just happen. Like the universe will show you. It will happen. You'll be guided. um that's awesome, Red Rose. I can't read, unfortunately, because the heart thing's there. I'm just clicking a few hearts. I can't read the word. Oh yeah, that's it. Now I can read it. You really are, and do not doubt yourself. Oh, so that's it. I'm a natural at teaching this. Thank you. That really means a lot. You know. There you go. If you keep the hope, that's awesome. So that's it. It started off with the I'm just clicking a few hearts too. We're sending the hearts into the sky. They're floating off. They're drifting off. How good's that? Um, that's it. Hey, got to keep hope. I've had a really difficult time, and all you hear me is sounds like I'm complaining, but I'm I'm getting through it. That's the main thing, like um, I'm learning so much. Doing these streams is helping me in so many ways. I'm learning how to speak properly. I'm um, I'm connecting with people. Um, it really is so good, you know, and I've had so many good experiences so far with this, and so I'm excited to continue it and keep doing it. So next week I'll do another exercise, and then maybe the following week I'll do another one. And so if you're here with me on that journey, you can um, over time, you know, learn some mindfulness techniques. So it's pretty awesome. So yeah, it for me, um, it just happened. Like basically, I was a lot of it was through getting advice from like trauma counselors and psychologists. But years ago, was saying mindfulness is such a great thing, and she gave me mindfulness practices to do, and I did them, and I got a lot of benefit from them. So I always knew how good it was. Um, but yeah, now I'm actually learning it. You know, it's yeah, It's amazing. It's life changing. And like I said, it just happened. I all of a sudden was like, "Yep, I'm going to do this course," and then I signed up, and now I'm doing it, and I'm starting to get benefits from it. So you know, it can alleviate so much of pain and anxiety and stress. Um, and the more you do it, the more you are present, and the more you can a- attain and retain your focus. So the beauty of mindfulness is, you know, yes, you have to practice it formally, like you have to sit down and do it or take time out to do it. But the beauty of it is you can turn anything into mindfulness. So it could be when you're making dinner, when you're peeling the potatoes, you focus on what you're doing. You're not just automatically peeling the potato, you're thinking about it as you're doing it each time. You don't have to do it super slowly, but you might have to do it it might slow you down a little bit, and there's um but you can start applying mindfulness to everything, and then the more aware and present you are, the better your life will become. It's such an amazing thing. You're stressed out, you can use it, you can call on it. When you're going through a difficult situation, um, you can do particular exercises to help actually think about. So mindfulness is not just about um, putting your focus on one thing. It is also can be about getting you into that state where you can actually think about something and focus on that. So it's not all about just breathing or um, it's such a powerful thing. So it's so awesome. That's all I've been seeing, watching the hearts flying up in the sky. It's so good to see. I'm so excited right now. Like I got to do my very first mindfulness session just then, and I'm honored. So thank you. And the feedback I'm getting is awesome. So I'm going to keep doing that. So yes, hugs from Red Rose. So we've got 4 people in the stream, but no, it's Red Rose is the only one chatting. Sometimes it takes a while to get a conversation going. Um, I'll click a few hearts there. The hearts keep flying. So it's like, you know, what do we want to talk about tonight? Like maybe tonight we don't actually get around to having a full conversation like we have in all the other chats. So far all the live streams, um, we've had extended chats in the chat window, and it just happens to be that it's not happening tonight, but that's fine. You know, you're just going to hear me chatting. So as long as you don't mind hearing my voice, um, that's totally all right. And I'm appreciating all the love hearts flying up in the air. I'll add a few to it. See, that's we don't have to be talking. We can just be sending love hearts into the air. That's just a special. So yeah, I don't know. I've I've had a very interesting week. Insomnia. It's been difficult, but now I think the insomnia is gone or going. Um, it's been a very difficult week for me, relationship wise, with people, and it's something I have to focus on my part of it and how I can do that. How I can be better at how I communicate. Um, I know I've got problems with communication, and so that's another part of doing these streams. Is for me to get better at communicating, and I'm forced to keep talking. So because I was so isolated for so long, you know, I was worried that I was starting to lose the ability to just talk properly. Um, yeah, I didn't because I didn't have too much written down. Actually, I did write something about hope today, and so I can read this to you right now. It's like a poem. When hope is lost, you just have to find it. If it seems that it is lost, you can remember it, because the times you survived are the times you will again survive. Hope is always there. Even when you are broken, there is hope to repair. It is not what they want you to hear. Don't give up and persevere. So yeah, that's what I wrote today about hope. Red Rose says, "Wow!" Exclamation marks. Thank you. I love being able to share, you know, poems and short stories and stuff here. It's been awesome to do. Red Rose says, "Just wow." Thank you. It's yeah, like I guess I should have been more prepared tonight with stuff to talk about, because we don't seem to have the chat going tonight. Well, you're here, Red Rose, and that's important. You're a special person. It's always good to have you here. Um, but it seems like it gets to a point when um, the conversation just starts happening, and it's just not happening tonight. So I'm happy to sit here chatting to you, Red Rose. So, but hopefully I haven't turned people away from my channel, because it might have been too difficult watching my videos. I know in the last one. Yes, says Red Rose. Yeah, we can just keep chatting. But yeah, no, what? I'm trying to work out what you mean. Oh, yes, you're saying no, as in I'm not turning people away. I hope that's the case. I hope that I'm not doing that, but because and obviously it's part of, at the moment, you know, things things are going to change as I progress, you know. But it is difficult, you know, for to talk about the topics that I talk about, and for it to. I can understand if people get a fatigue where they just like they you know it's it's too much, you know. Red Rose says you're doing great, Luke. That's awesome to hear. You just be you, says Red Rose. Thank you. Well, that's what I'm doing. Hey, I'm just being myself. And as I've been going through this process of um, healing and changing my life and changing the way I think and changing the way I behave and act and communicate and all this sort of stuff, I really do feel like things are starting to change. Um, and again, that goes back to the thing for tonight being hope. You know, noticing that change is giving me hope. And like I posted in the community tab in YouTube, how excited I was. I had good news that, you know, I I've processed most of the major traumas now, and so I've made it to the to a point, and now I can see the next phase or section of healing is going to be so much awesome, so much better. It's going to be awesome, like, because, and I do have hope now, greater hope, and I know it's going to be a lot of work, and I still suffer from self doubt massively. You know, um, I've got to stop doubting myself. So Red Rose says yes. That's awesome, and I guess that's referring to like the shift or the change that's happening in my life. Because it doesn't, you know, things, making a change is one of the most difficult things for anyone to do, really, you know. And it's almost impossible to do in a lot of cases. So I don't know exactly how long it's been now, but it'll be coming up to, it's like a week and a half or something since I've had anything to drink, alcohol. Stop drinking, you know. I've made it to that point. And I did get tempted. I was tempted yesterday, and I managed to abstain, and I'm really glad that I did abstain. Um, but it's a struggle, you know. Red Rose says 100%. It is a struggle, and Red Rose says stay strong. Thank you. That's what it's all about at the moment. I've just got to stay strong and keep working on building up my strength, because I was so weak. I was so weakened early. You know, I've gone from, like I said in previous video, I've back to zero again. But that's okay. You know, I'm happy because even though I'm not really back to zero, I've leveled up in certain things. So it means that I'm not really back at zero. It's just I've got to start again, and I've already started again, and I'm, you know. So you're right. I've just got to stay strong. I've got goals, you know, that's another thing that gives me hope, is that I've got goals now. So I've got an idea of, you know, what I could possibly doing for work. And so these goals is something that's going to take me a year to actually become something. But I know I've got to take several steps to get there. Um, but I'll get there. And having hope and in myself as well, because that's a big thing. Is I suffer from self doubt, and I'm learning to you know believe in myself, trust in myself, have hope in for myself. One of my biggest things is I would actually um, be over empathic towards everyone else, but not empathic towards myself. I wouldn't put myself in the picture. So I'm learning to actually put myself in the picture and think about myself. And that's been difficult because once you have something that's so ingrained, um, you know, it's very difficult. But I'm starting to do that. I'm starting to really put myself first, you know, and um, that's not going to stop me from being empathic towards other people, you know. So um, it just means that I have to put myself first. Not in every situation, but if I'm not doing that, then it's almost like I'm failing from the start because I'm not doing it. And I'm only just learning this stuff now. It's taken me like my whole life to like get to this point where I'm really actually starting to realize the importance of putting yourself first, but not changing who you are. Like, I'll still care for other people. And, it's very difficult explaining things when you're highly sensitive and also highly triggered, hyper vigilant, um, and then I also have the problem of dissociating. So it's such a difficulty just maintaining a stable flow. But it's starting to happen. That's starting to happen for me. So I've got goals. Next time I visit my psychologist, I already got there's two traumas that I'm going to work through, and they're sort of connected. So I'm going to make that my opportunity to get to the next stage. I really look forward to that. I love seeing these love hearts just flying up into the sky. There's a lot of love here tonight. So I'm just trying to think of like, stuff that we can talk about. Like, um, so yeah, again, like I'm glad that I've stopped drinking. I've stopped drinking, and I'm confident now that it's gonna stay like that. You know, I've decided to stop, and I feel like I don't want it anymore, and I know it's not giving me any benefits. It was just keeping me stuck. So I'm I'm really excited for the future now, and I have hope. And um, Red Rose says, Luke, I think everyone is enjoying hearing you talk tonight. That's awesome. Yeah, well, there's been four people in the room most of the time, and we got 5 likes already. So that's a good sign, and that's it. Like, you know, I appreciate all the love and support I'm getting from everyone, and how we've been able to start friendships, and that's been amazing. And I'm s- I'm so appreciative of like having that opportunity, and I'm so glad I actually just did that first live stream, because I had the YouTube channel for um, a couple of years, and that was when I first started making YouTube channels. It was like my art stuff, and I look forward to starting to do more of that. So making the sunset videos um, is going to be something that I do at least once a week. I didn't get one done last week, but that's okay. So, but yeah, maybe that's it. Everyone's just enjoying listening to me talk, and I can just keep talking. So like, um, but yeah, I've got goals. I know what I need to be doing now. Now that I've stopped drinking, I've got a much clearer mind. My mind is a lot clearer. Um, the just the biggest problem I got at the moment is the anxiety, and just going out in public is terrifying for me at the moment, and that's something I really got to work on. I don't know how and when that's going to change. You know, I mean, even my next psychologist appointment in a few weeks, I've already thought, oh look, I'll do it via video chat, because I don't know if I'm up for going there. I think I'd get just as much benefit from doing the session on video chat as if I was sitting there, and probably more, because it's okay. I think with anxiety, I think it's okay to just know when not to push yourself too far, you know. And um, Red Rose says, yes, it'll happen. That's awesome. It will. It'll get better. But I'm not trying to force it. I think I've got more important things to work on at the moment. But it is a major thing at the moment. So I just keep working as I guess the way I see it is, I already have so much I need to do, and I've got a clear sort of understanding of what I need to be doing now. There's a big problem when you're trying to fix yourself, or you're trying to catch up, or you know, get yourself out of a situation, and you've got a lot of things you've got to do to actually achieve that. It can be overwhelming. So I guess being kind to myself and taking it slowly, and letting things happen as they do, and knowing that there's only so much I can do at the moment. And when I look back actually at what I've achieved in the last few weeks, even though they've been really difficult weeks, and I've made the videos about how difficult my time has been, um, I've achieved so much in that time. So I'm so grateful for that. You know, self compassion with the heart, says Red Rose. That's that's a beautiful comment. That's something I guess I'm learning. I'm finally learning this. I guess I've always had it there to an extent. That's the thing that I guess has helped me get through all those years of struggle. I've had enough self compassion, and um, like, even if like I'm thinking back to like times in my life when I was really struggling with everything, and you know the thing that got me through was self compassion. And so for me, it was making my art, whether it was mostly music, whether I was making music or doing drawing or painting. Um, the fact that I had it there to do, and it was a way for me to forget about the worries that are happening, forget about what's happening around, and because at least I have this thing that I can do for myself, and that's why making music is such a beautiful, powerful thing. Sadly, I can't do it at the moment because I've got barriers preventing me from picking up my guitars. But I know that it will happen again. I will get inspired again. But I think emotionally, I'm not there in that space. But I'm writing poetry and I'm making the sunset videos. So that's my art at the moment. That's my self compassion. So you know, I think that's a really good comment, Red Rose, and that's something I will focus on. Red Rose says you will in time. Yes, I will get back. I will get back to playing guitar and making music. And I do look forward to that time because even in the last few years, I went from you know I'd almost lost that. It had been so long since I'd played guitar, and I haven't played a piano or keyboard for many years now. So maybe that'll be something for me. Um, Maybe it's before I get back into guitar. It might be another instrument. I've got my flute. I could, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's really it. I've got I've got two flutes, and I enjoy playing them. Except I don't because I have this barrier. But maybe now's the time. You know, I'll show 'em. I'll show you. I won't play it because it's like they're very difficult instruments. So I think I've had this one I've had it a long time. 20, 25 years I've had this flute. It's beautiful. Look at it. So in time I will get back to it. So see, that's the base of the bamboo. See the roots? And so this is like a student flute. And so, the expensive ones or the better ones, are two piece and you pull them apart. But this is more natural. And I won't play any now because I do have videos on my YouTube that have me playing, but I will. This has inspired me right now. Just because I'm not going to get back into playing guitar, I'll start. I'll get back into the flute. And so the beauty of this flute is that I've had it for 25 years, and it's it's still in the same condition almost as when I bought it because I've taken care of it, and I haven't been able to. It's very difficult to play because you have to see that's the mouthpiece, so it's different to traditional flutes. So you got to make the shape with your lips, but once you get it, it gives you more opportunity to how you can shape the sound. Um, So that's my shakuhachi. That's a Japanese bamboo flute, and it was like a, made famous by Zen monks. And this is my Norkan, which is a Zen flute. It's beautiful. Look at this. So I've got the bindings, and so this flute's a little bit easier to play, but it's still difficult. But the inside, there's a second mouthpiece inside there, and so this is that. If you ever heard the Japanese kabuki music or the Zen music, and this is the flute that you hear, and it's very like, look it up if you want, Nohkan, and it's got, because it's got a second mouthpiece in there. It gives this amazing. It's like an eerie sound. It's like a very eerie sound. So this flute I only got last year. So this is so I will get back into this as well. I'll start playing both of the flutes. It's inspired me, because now I was just, and this, I didn't expect that. We were just talking about music and it started with self-compassion. So Red Rose says, yes, self-compassion, and then started talking about music, and then getting back to music, and then I was like talking about guitar, and it's like, don't worry about the guitar. Get back into the flute, start playing that. And now I'm going to send a few love hearts into the air. That's it. Red Rose says it just happened. That's it. Isn't that amazing how things like that happen? Because they've been sitting there, and I have been thinking about it for I have been thinking about it. See, and this is why it's still in good condition, because I always, you protect the mouthpiece. But these flutes can last for hundreds of years, but often what happens is they crack, but then you can repair them, with wire. So even when they break, you don't, and because they're very strong, they've been treated when they make them. So this will be my next thing, is getting back into playing flute, and it'll get me back into actually going for more bushwalks as well, because I'm very self-conscious about it, and it's such a difficult instrument to play. I prefer to go out into nature, and that's the whole Zen practice too, or the practice of that is to play the instrument in nature. And so what it'll do is it'll get me, Red Rose says, excellent. It'll get me bushwalking, but it'll also get me back playing an instrument, which is really important. And I had no idea that was going to happen until a few minutes ago. So Red Rose says, yeah, I love Zen music. That's it. It's really awesome. It's and there's so that's really exciting, that I've got another thing that I had no idea was going to happen tonight, and it did. And now I've got a plan. I'm even I'll get my diary out, and I'll write down flute. And because I've written walk on every day, I'll do I'll write flute down every day as well. So even if I don't get, even if it's just one day of the week that I manage to actually play the flute, it's going to happen. So look, I've already got some stuff on every day except for next weekend. So, you know, I mean, it's 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 funny how like I get self-conscious because I think, oh, here's me sitting in front of a computer writing in my diary in front of people what I'm going to be doing for the week. But for me, that's just such an important thing. It's keeping me on track. And how awesome is that? I've a few minutes ago, I was talking about not playing guitar, and now it's like, don't worry about not playing guitar. I got the flute to play. And I used to have a really nice flute bag, but I just got given this bandana, and it's like a Japanese one as well, so it's perfect. So I wrap my flute in that, and then I have this case. So it's in a case, But then when if I go into the bush, I take the flute out and I just carry the flute on its own. So how good's that? I'm so grateful for that conversation, just where it went just then, because it has been they've been sitting there, and now I've got a reason to actually get back and play them again. And then, once I get good enough again at it, I'll put another video on YouTube of me playing it. And that's, I guess, a bit of a problem with my channel is I've got noise music on there as well, which not many people like noise music, which is fair enough. But what I do is I've got playlists. So if you go to my channel and you're ever interested, just look at the different playlists. One playlist is just me playing guitar. One playlist is like playing the flute. One playlist is sunsets and sunrises. One playlist is like poetry, me doing poetry and spoken word stuff. And I've got an ASMR channel playlist. And I sort of, for me, it's, think videos on that thing are more just because there are interesting sounds, so it's not like I'm scratching microphones and doing all that stuff. It's because it's got sounds. And so check out that stuff. But I do have a few videos. I don't know exactly how many. I'm just looking now. Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, they're all the playlists I got. I've got 5 videos there of me playing the flute, so you can listen to them. I'll put a link to the playlists in the chat. I think that'll work. I'll just check. Yes, it does. So there you go. the flutes I just showed you just then, if you want to see me attempt attempt to play, you can watch them. But yeah, mate, that's awesome. I've got something else to get back into. That can be my art therapy, is to do that. Because for so long they sat there. But it's great. I'm going to get back into it. So thank you so much, Red Rose, for yes, with the sparks and the 100%. That I'm excited now. That will be my thing. I'll get back into that. I'm so appreciative for all that. And tonight, just doing that mindfulness exercise with you all, and getting positive feedback is really good. It means a lot to me. So I'm really confident now. I have hope. Going back to the title of the thing again, I've got hope after almost losing it. It's very easy to lose faith and hope in things, but never let it completely disappear. You can have the slightest amount of hope, and that can just be the thing that gets you through. So, and that's it. Like what Red Rose said, stay strong. So yeah. I can't see the word that, because it's blocked a bit, but it says hope is the thing with feathers. Oh, the wing. Yeah, hope is the thing with feathers. That's a good one. Red Rose says yes. It's just been you and me chatting tonight, Red Rose. Red Rose says yes, you're right. Hope is the thing with feathers. It's the bird. Said it can fly. It means you're not stuck. Birds are amazing things, aren't they? Yes, Luke. Yes, the Luke and Janet show tonight. It is. Normally we've got like 5 or 6 people just chatting, and that's like I said before. I was worried that it was people that might have had fatigue or something like that. But yeah, it's and things. I guess it's not easy. Sort of. I guess it has been easy doing this. There hasn't really been too many troubles or dramas with everything. Just talking about the streams in general, they've been pretty fun, and I'm going to keep doing them. And not every time it will be lots of people chatting. That's fine. Yes, the hearts have been going all night. They have been. I've added to them a few times, but I haven't had to. I only there was only a few times where they stopped going, and like I thought I'll add a few there. Hopefully mouse clicking sound isn't too annoying. But I mean, that's okay. Like if tonight's it's if it's the Luke and Janet show, it's the Red Rose and Luke show tonight. We're just having the chat, and that's the thing is, being part of a conversation can be um, difficult for some people, or they just don't feel like chatting, but they're happy to just sit back and listen, and that is awesome. If you're enjoying hearing me talk, then and it's been really constructive. This is something that I always get amazed by. You know, things you think something just happens out of the chat. And for me tonight, it was um, realizing that there's nothing. The only thing stopping me from playing flute is myself. So it would be awesome for me to get back into, and so I look forward to that now. I've got another thing to be excited for. The other thing that happened tonight, and I've spoken about already, is doing that mindfulness exercise. I had no idea, expectation, or thought about it. I had thought about doing that in the future. Like I was going to ask if I could do practice. I practiced the training by doing the exercise, and I'm excited now to continue that and do that again. Um, and I've got more exercises, and especially the ones that are beneficial for trauma and anxiety. Like um, I look forward to actually sharing those at some point, because I do need to practice them, and I think that's going to be an awesome thing to do. You know, I'm still amazed. I'm just amazed. I did my first mindfulness training exercise tonight. I got to do that. I had no idea I was going to do it. So that is really awesome. And it's a really beneficial one too. It's the base. It's the initial one. It's the main core introduction to it. And keep doing it. Yeah. Red Rose says exactly 5 stars. Yeah, that's awesome. Just I am looking back over. I am consciously thinking about what I do. With the stuff though. I keep saying I'm self-conscious. So I am sort of trying to refine what I do. I've spoken maybe too much about my traumas and things. So I'm now at a point where I'm going to be talking less about my problems or my traumas, even though it is constructive to do that. Um, I'll be starting to maybe talk more about the solutions and working through things and how things that have worked for me and that. And maybe I don't want to. I'm not this sort of person who, you know, I've. I, I guess tonight is an example where I'm talking about hope and how powerful that is to have hope, even if things are so bad in your life that you feel like you've lost hope. Just holding on to a bit of it can be all it takes to give you that bit of energy to just keep going and keep moving, And so, for me, I now have newfound hope because I've made it to a certain point in my healing. And even though I know that I'm still at the beginning in comparison to, it's going to take years to really do. I still have a couple of years, but I already have so much relief from the the constant stress and the constant flashbacks and constant dysregulation that now I feel like I am excited, and that's what I shared in the community tab in my YouTube. How I've got good news, Um, and I did share that on my Instagram and Facebook as well, and I sent emails to people saying things are really getting better, and I'm noticing it now, and I really feel like where I was is not where I am now, you know. So moving forward, I think the main thing will be to basically just prove to everyone around me um, that that is the case, you know, that I really am, I really have made a recovery, you know. So, but you're right, Red Rose. It is the Luke and Janet show tonight. You know, there's the hearts are flying in the sky. There's lots of hearts, so we don't need to be doing the chats. As long as we're doing we're still there's still a lot of love here. You know. Yeah, I'm just trying to think now. I've gone through so much of talking about myself tonight, and I guess that's because the chat hasn't really started so much. We've had some good chats in the chat, but it's been all about me tonight, which is fine. I guess that's the you know um, that's fine. And again, like it's it's what these live streams were especially meant to really be about me in a way. But then I realized once the chat started happening that no, it's really about the chats, and I'm just here starting it, you know. And I do understand that not every time I do a live stream, you know, people will be there for it. So I'm still having fun tonight, and the hearts are flying up in the sky. They don't. None of that appears in the replay, so that's unfortunate. That means those hearts are only there now. They're in the moment, and then they're gone. So, but like I think I've talked through a lot of stuff with tonight, and I guess because of the last few videos I've made have been pretty heavy, but then what I'm going through is something that's pretty heavy. So I got to be kind to myself and not keep putting myself down. It's something that's certainly one of the most damaging aspects to um, my personality and my habits of is putting myself down, having self doubt, you know, um, worrying about things. You know, I worry too much about things when I should just relax and not care or care less. Um, So I'm learning all this stuff. I'm learning to, because I don't want to divert my empathy away and become less empathic just by, but there's a necessity for me to actually do that for self-preservation in some cases. So because I have the Red Rose says one day at a time, that's it. Don't try and change everything, but don't try too much too quickly. Um, One thing I have noticed is when you do change and you try and put up barriers, not barriers, when you try and put up boundaries or change your behavior, it can be shocking for other people, um, because suddenly you've changed. So this is a phenomenon, a phenomenon. This is That's what it is. It's a phenomenon. So, but yeah, when you change, it shocks people around you, and sometimes they don't like it because they like the way you were more. Red Rose has got the tears, laughing tears, crying. It is a phenomenon. That's what it is. But yeah, no. So I've got to learn not to care about the fact that if I'm changing the way I am, and it's not changing the whole person, I'm still going to be me. That's the thing. I'm still going to be me. I'm just maybe creating boundaries, and Red Rose says, "Yes, my friend." That's it. One of one of the biggest problems that I've faced with um, my trauma responses are fawning. I become a people pleaser, and it's embarrassing to the point where it's embarrassing sometimes. And then when I realize that I've been triggered, and then I've gone and then acted that way, I've felt embarrassed for how I've acted, and I still like to make people happy. So I'm not going to stop being friendly and wanting to jump in and do things for people or help them. But I'm learning to um, realize when I'm my if my response to being triggered is to go into the fawning behavior sets, and that it's not good for me, then I have to change that, because if I stick with that and I keep embarrassing myself, or um, it's something that I do need to change. And if people don't like that, and they think um, I've suddenly changed and become a different person, it's through necessity. It's because I for most of my life have been over compensating through people pleasing and not putting myself first. And I'm not going to change, I'm not going to change being the person that gets in there and helps people and will, um, but I'm going to change from being that person that um, does it too much, goes too far with it. You know, I'm making stepping back a little bit, making some boundaries. Um, Again, because I'm isolated and I'm not getting that social interaction, You know, I'm avoiding that. So you could argue that I'm making it worse for myself by avoidance. But for me, it's something that's sort of self-preservation at the moment, and that, um, like Red Rose was saying, one day at a time, and it will return. Things will get better. I've got to be kind to myself that it won't happen overnight, and eventually, this barrier that I have with anxiety will alleviate. And I think as I'm processing and building up strength and getting my fitness and health on track, it will just happen automatically at some point, you know. But at the same time, you know, I accept the fact that my anxiety is so high that it causes me more pain even thinking about going out in public and socializing, you know. Um, and again, like, because I've been hurt and damaged by so many people, I am fearful of opening myself up to that, um, anymore. And so it's making it even easier for me to justify to myself not to go out in public. So it becomes this very difficult situation, and that at the same time, I um, have become accustomed to solitude. So, you know, at the moment, things are a bit better as far as, I've found new friends here, um, and I'm really appreciative of the connections that I've made. And, I want to keep those going. And for me, it's so important, and I feel so fortunate to have, made those connections and established new friends, because essentially that's what I was trying to do, you know. And there has been some difficulties, but I think that's, it's when it's. I think, for instance, I think I think we do really, really well when we have the chat going, and we're all people that have gone through serious stuff in our lives and still going through stuff, and we have these awesome chats that, you know most of the people in the chat might be isolated themselves, and just that communicating is such a difficult thing to do, but we've been able to do it. So that, to me, is a really special thing, you know. These hearts are just flying into the sky. It's awesome. See, we got someone. People have been coming and joining the chat, but I guess, it's it's a quiet night tonight. You know, not everyone's wanting to speak, but anyone who joined, someone just joined. If you want to join the conversation, feel free. We're happy to just talk about anything tonight. Um, so, and as you can see, the hearts are flying into the sky. So there's a lot of love being shared. I guess I could just keep talking about hope, because that's what I had in the description, finding new hope, because that's I have found that. One thing I don't want to say I'm fearful of it, but one thing I'm wary of is, you know, things that will pop up and try to derail me in the next few months. Things that will become barriers or roadblocks, or um, things to dissuade me from my where I'm going. And I've I've got to be ambivalent towards that. I just got to not care and just roll with it, and just be appreciative of where I am now and how I've gotten to this point, and not worry about whether this newfound hope is going to diminish. Because again, that's the biggest thing, is that you can be your own worst enemy by doubting yourself or putting yourself in a negative mindset. And I'm going through the shift now in my life where I'm realizing that it it all it all comes down to me believing in myself and not caring about certain things, not worrying about certain things, just accepting things. And that's something that I'm learning. And I guess I've always had a high tolerance for things, acceptance and um, being let down, or failing, you know. But then I've had the problem where, even though I've been able to achieve amazing things at times in my life, I've failed so many times at things. It's easy for me to have the self doubt emerge and become dominant, and then take over the situation. And then as soon as that happens, nothing works. So acceptance and not having expectations and not fearing things will be a valuable thing for me moving forward, and will help me progress much faster, and it will help me to grow stronger. And I do understand that, I've got to do it. I've got to be patient. Excuse me. I've got to be patient, and I've got to allow things to happen when they happen. I can't rush things. I can do everything I can to make something happen in a reasonable period of time, and that's how you can actually make things happen, is by not having expectations that it's actually going to turn out or not, but not also be blind at the same time. And well, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like, not having the expectations is good, and then also knowing that things could turn out not good, but then not focusing on it. So then being aware and not judging, and then so accepting what is, and moving on from it and moving through it. you know, will be much better for me, rather than the normal sort of way I would go about things would be I would have this idea or something, a goal, that something I wanted to attain, you know, and it would be, if I told people about it, they would knock me down and tell me that I'm dreaming, and that's never going to be achievable. But and then I stopped doing it usually. So I learned not to actually be careful of, how you express to others your hopes and aspirations and your dreams, because they will be shattered by other people telling you that you're dreaming. But the thing is that there's nothing really stopping you from achieving your dreams, because and even if people are telling you no, you're not going to do it, you're not going to achieve it, you can actually prove them wrong by not caring about what they say and still doing it. So regardless, keep on what you're doing regardless of it, of others. I tell you what, these hearts have been flying into the sky all night. I'm just adding a few now. But probably, like, we're coming up to 3 hours. Like, I'll keep chatting for a while, but I probably will end the chat in the next 20 minutes or something, just because, I think I've I've gotten a lot out of tonight, really. Actually, I've got new things to do. I've reaffirmed things, and I've worked through. I've been able to share how excited I am for where I'm at. So that's something, you know. And like I said, I haven't drunk any alcohol for, it'll be soon. It'll be 2 weeks. So that's really good. I'm really glad I've done that, because it wasn't helping me at all. There was a few times there in the last 6 months where it sort of helped me get through the day or the night. Red Rose says, yes, my friend, 100%. I'm just loving see that no one will see this in the replay. All the love hearts going into the sky. It's just been flying all night. I've been adding to it. So and like, I guess it's been really cathartic for me tonight to really just sort of talk about these things. It's like getting things clear, you know. It's good to do. And I guess the one of the things about, like, because I'm sitting here in front of a camera and I'm the one talking, it is catharsis. It is something, and again, like, the intention of these live streams is that it is catharsis, you know, and yeah, there's been a lot of people joining the chats and joining the stream and then dropping out. So I guess I'm not entertaining people. but it's not really about entertaining, I guess. It's, I'm trying to just be me and talk about my, problems and how I get through them, and you know, it's been very valuable for me. Very valuable. But it's 2 and 3/4 of an hour now, so I reckon it's probably a good time to wind up the stream tonight. You know, I've got I've had I've had an opportunity tonight to really talk about things that are important to me, and I haven't been going on about, and that again, I have this fear that you know all I do is talk about my problems, and it's not. You know, I'm talking about what I'm learning and how I'm learning, and you know, focusing on what's important at the moment. It's being in the moment, so that's a big thing. So I'm learning to become more present, and that's something that's sort of, well, it's strange because even though I've had the dissociation associated with the trauma, and it's been like that for large portions of my life, I've also had the ability to focus and be very attentive. So I guess now I'm training myself to be able to be in the present longer and in a better way. It can only mean good things for me. So, you know, I'm going to keep doing that. Keep doing what I'm doing. You know, we got someone join. Feel free to join the chat. Anyone who's here. We're probably going to end the stream in the next 10 minutes or so. But it's good to have you here. It's been a different one tonight. It's been Red Rose and Luke chatting all night, and that's fine. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it too, Red Rose, and anyone who's been here listening. But it really has given me a chance to really sort of go deep into how I think. And Red Rose says I sure have. Yeah, I have too. And I appreciate all the support and all the people that comment on my videos and tell me that it's me sharing my stuff is helping them. And I got a lot of that back today when I posted that in the communities, my my progress. So you know, I'm just, yeah. It's how awesome is this? Like you can just. A few months ago, I was completely isolated in a really bad state. I was getting triggered, even though I'd started the healing journey. I was getting triggered too much, and now I'm getting triggered less. Although to be fair, I am self isolating more from society, so I'm not exposing myself to the triggers. So eventually, I've got to sort of um, push past that and really make the effort and but just by doing these live streams, I've had so much fun and been able to work through difficult situations that I'm going through, and that's been so good for me, you know. And I'm going to keep doing the weekly stream. Um, that's just going to be something I do. I might be doing a bit less of the impromptu ones, but I guess I don't know. It seems to me that it works for me to, like, if I've got something to say, I'll and I need to do it. If I need to, like this week, the those two shorter streams I did two 22-minute streams, and um, I really needed to do them, you know. So I'm glad I did them because, and I had no plan to do them. It's just like, that's it. I'm going to do a live stream. I'm going to talk about this right now, and it was the best thing to do. So I will probably keep doing those ones. It's, I am conscious of trying to be a positive person and to um, share enriching or constructive viewpoints on things, and also share with people my progress, which for me has been really great. That, like, I've gone from where I was to where I am now, you know, and it can only get better from here, even if I do have, like, I'm going to have setbacks again, but I'm ready for them, and I'm not going to dwell on them. I'm just going to keep moving forward, and just, there's people say, if you're too optimistic, then you're not real. You're not a realist. Might sound negative, but they're only saying their sort of um, they're only saying what they think is the potential for disaster or for something to not turn out right. And so they're only, and in a lot of cases they could actually be right about their realism, that they're not trying to be negative. They're just trying to, rationalize in a way. But see, I think, and you can go too far with being optimistic or positive. So I don't know, finding a balance in between. It could be something where you're, you know, you accept that things might not turn out the way you want, but you're not going to accept that they are going to go bad, or they're going to turn out in or be negative. So it's finding that balance where you're you you you've you can be optimistic and you can be positive. And I believe that can be the thing that actually allows you to achieve what you're trying to achieve, or get to where you want to go, is because you are optimistic. you know you can you can be optimistic and still accept realities, that you know things might not turn out the way you want them to, but you're not going to allow them to take over your your drive. So if you can keep the momentum going, realizing that things might not turn out right, but you're not going to make them. You're not going to allow them to not happen just because you are worried that they're not going to happen. So finding that balance in the middle, you know, and and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find that balance in the middle where, I'm remaining optimistic, but I'm not going so far as to think that everything's going to turn out sweet and be awesome tomorrow. I'm still have that realistic expectation of the reality that things still take time and things are going to be difficult, and I'm comfortable in that, and I that gives me comfort that because everything is hard work, really. To get to the point where you're going to really achieve a breakthrough, or succeed in something. Because my biggest problem in life is um, my biggest problem in life is has been um, self doubt and self sabotage as far as my outlook. I have a problem where I'm like super optimistic towards other people's situations, or um, you know I'm optimistic about others, and then I apply negativity towards my own outlook, towards my own success, and then that feeds back into when I do that, I get stuck in that, and then as soon as I'm stuck in that mindset that you know oh well, it's never going to work for me because I always fail, then I've already failed. So it is finding that balance, and also taking back what the things that I give too much of. I give too much positivity towards other people's what they want, and denying myself, which is something that I'm learning how to do that. And I don't want to change as a person, because I know that when I'm in a social situation, I can be the really happy, friendly, optimistic one when there could be people around me that are being negative and think the worst. So, I don't want to change. I still want to be me, but what I want to do is I want to, you know, I think I'll be able to succeed at things better by not doubting myself so much, and caring for myself more, putting myself in the center, and I'll still be loving and caring towards other people and give what I can to other people, but I'm not going to deny myself things. So that will be something that hopefully I, I I grow out of. I grow out of this um, way that I am now, and retain who I am, retain who I really am, without actually completely changing everything. And again, like I was saying earlier, that can be shocking for people when you really do make changes in your life, because suddenly you're a different person to them, and they may not like that, and they may actually be negative towards your new change, and that's a painful thing. Is when you go through. We've got some new person in the chat. How you going there, Happy Hermit? Hi there. I don't know you, but I hope you're doing okay. Thank you. I'm doing pretty awesome, actually. Well, I've had a rough couple of weeks. You know, rough. Actually, the last year's been pretty rough or tough, difficult, but I'm doing good. I hope you're doing okay as well. I like your name, Happy Hermit, because I talk about this a lot. Is that I am quite isolated, and I'm self-isolating a lot at the moment because of my anxiety. So I'm learning to be a happy hermit myself, my friend. But I'm not completely isolated. I've got friends. And I've found new friends, and I'm just not. You know, I'm just not able to do the things I want to be doing right now. I'll Red Rose, yes, you're just being you, and keep doing that. Thank you, Red Rose. Happy Hermit says, yeah, I'm in the US. It's late early here, and I can't sleep. So sorry to hear what you're going through. A rough time. I am too. We'll get through it. That's awesome attitude, Happy Hermit. We will get through it. That is awesome. Like and I could tell we're on the same wavelength too with your name, Happy Hermit. See, I'm very happy. I'm happy to be a bit disconnected from society at the moment, because it sort of is giving me an opportunity to work on things. So yeah, you're in the US, so that's it. Um, yeah, Happy Hermit does the hello. Red Rose says hello, Happy Hermit, 100%. Happy Hermit says, yeah, I'm embracing it. It's hard some days, but personal freedom is nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you do. It is good to embrace it. Hey, I am at the stage where I do want to. I'm talking about trying to get back and doing stuff, but I keep saying, like, I used to love going to see live music, and I haven't been able to for so long, and I know it's going to be a while before, and if I can ever go see live music ever again, that's how serious my anxiety is. But yeah, to embrace it is a great way to look at it. Yep, you got a dog that keeps you company. That's great, because it's having a companion is really special. I used to have a pet cat, and I haven't had that for um it's 12 years now, and so it's been so long. But having a companion can be such an amazing thing. You don't That can be your company. Red Rose says, yes, fur babies are the best, with big hugs. Happy Hermit says, yeah, I don't go many places. I, I'd like, because of it. Sorry, it's the I couldn't read the whole thing because of the way the comments are. Like, it's got the love heart thing in front of it, so I can't read the last word. But I think it says, I don't go many places I'd like to, because of it. Yeah, that's the unfortunate side to um, being isolated, because there is places you still want to go, and when you're prevented, it'd be nice to have a balance where you could be a hermit, and then still go to the places you want to go, just and for not have that barrier. So my dad put me on to reading a book, and I just got it, the ebook, and it's Thoreau, Walden, if you've heard of it. So it was written in the 18, I don't know when, 1890 or 60, 70, something like that. And um, Thoreau was like, got fed up with society and just wanted to go live in nature. And he wanted to go live in a cabin. So this book is all about him, his life living in the cabin. But, he used to go into town almost every day. So he'd still be a hermit, but he would still, he found a balance. Oh, yeah. So you've read that one, Happy Hermit. There you go. You love that book. You also have the audio book and listen a lot. Nice. So I haven't read it yet. I've just got it on as an ebook. So I'm looking forward to reading it. I, you know, that's good to know. It's because I have heard it's a well loved book. Red Rose says Happy Hermit. I understand with the roses. Red Rose says one of my favorites. So there you go. So I'm really excited now to read this book. Red Rose says yes. Happy Hermit. I own that book too. So yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to reading that one. I might start it tonight actually. Happy Hermit says, yeah, they rebuilt a replica of his cabin in at Walden Pond. People can visit it. Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. It looks pretty cool. Isn't that good they did that, That and it's a pretty special thing, that little bit of nature where, he was close to the city. He was able to walk into town and buy groceries, but he was far enough away to be in the bush or in the in nature and right near the pond. So that's pretty awesome. And like I'm really looking forward to reading this book now because it's all about his life, isn't it? Like how he grew his own food and that. No, I'm in Queensland, Happy Hermit, on the other side of the other side of the country. I'm on the east coast. Red Rose says, yes, Luke, exclamation marks. Yes, I will start reading Walden tonight. That's going to be good. Red Rose says to Happy Hermit, that is incredible. Yeah, I'm guessing that's about the Walden, the cabin. So yeah, if people that live near there or traveling near there can stop in and see it. So it's good when they do things like that, And it's apparently that book is one of the most loved books, American sort of loved books. So I'm glad I'm finally getting around to reading it, And I'm glad you've joined the chat tonight because again, that's another thing. There's when a there's all these unexpected things that happen with these chats. And so just talking about Walden has been a great thing, Now I'm going to read it. So I'm glad you joined the chat, and I look forward to starting it tonight. I've got it on my ebook version. So yeah, that's awesome. And there's been the love hearts flying in the sky all night tonight. I've added a few, but they've just been going. It's awesome. It's so yeah, what part of the States are you, Happy Hermit? But he also mentioned, or she, um, what the audiobook. Yeah, audiobooks are pretty awesome, aren't they? Like, it's a different way of, like, you can really, like, I love reading, but when you hear an audiobook, it's being read to you, and you can really just focus on listening and imagine what's happening in the book. So that they can be, especially if it's read by someone who's really good, that helps as well. Happy Hermit says, "Yeah, I'm in Colorado right now. I bought a motorhome caravan. Awesome. Oh, that's sorry to hear that. After your mum died, sorry to hear that. But that's such a great thing for you to do after losing someone so close to you. Is to actually really go through this sort of life adventure. So I hope um, that's really great way to live, like where you travel and you work online, so while you figure out a place to settle down. Yeah, but I am sorry to hear about the passing of your mother, man. That's that's and I think what you're doing is a great thing. Is you're like you've got like a motorhome, so you can just travel around the country and see where you want to live. I've got a friend who I from school days who was from America and then came to Australia, and then eventually he moved back to America, and like he lives in Colorado and he loves it. You know, it's his. He lives in the sort of wilderness areas of Colorado, and he takes people on trout fishing tours, and he's living the best life. He loves his life because he's in a really beautiful place, and he gets to take people fishing for his job, which would be a pretty awesome job, don't you reckon? Like, so, and I've seen like he um, puts photos up of like he's got trail cam near his at the back of his house, and he all the wildlife, hey, like that just wander past his house. It's must be pretty special living in Colorado in the woods. Red Rose says, "Y'all, I used to have my nature photography greeting cards for sale in some local retail stores, and for the information under my photo, I had his famous quote. Awesome, that's cool. Because he did have some famous quotes, didn't he? He was a deep thinker and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to reading Walden now. My dad suggested it to me. He kept saying, "You got to read this book. Get the ebook." You know what? My dad even bought me a um, Google Play card so that I could get some ebooks and so that I could get Walden. So it was a gift from my dad to actually have a copy of it now, and that's awesome. I got a copy of it, and I watched a little documentary about it last night. So I saw the cabin that you're talking about, and the place. So it's good now because I've seen it in the documentary. When I'm reading it, I'll be able to really imagine what it all looks like. So Oh, she was my last family, but I'm learning to learning life again. Yeah, dude, I'm really sorry to hear that passing, but you sounds like you're going through the healing and grieving process, and you're really doing some, you know, you're thinking about where you want to live, and you're taking your time. That's a really great thing to do because you might find some place, you might just arrive in some town and just go, "This is it. This is the best place to live. We're going to stay here." And then you can think about where to settle down. So Red Rose says, "Yeah, happy hermit. I'm sending my thoughts to you with some roses." Red Rose says, "Visiting Colorado is on my bucket list. The beauty of it. Yeah, it does look pretty beautiful, Colorado. All the mountains and the rivers, and yeah, the woodlands and stuff. And you got so many different types of environments. Desert type environments, and then you got snowy mountains, and yeah, it looks pretty awesome." Red Rose says, "Yes!" Exclamation marks. Red Rose says, "Oh, Luke, tell him how much I love it." Yeah, that's it. She does. She loves nature photography. She loves nature. Red Rose is like she writes poetry about nature, and she loves it. Red Rose says, "Happy hermit, you'll get through this with the roses." That's it. And it's pretty cool how you work online and you're able to do that. You know, it's really awesome that we live in that time where you can work online and be mobile and move around. So that sort of stuff wasn't possible before, but you can totally that can be your way of life nowadays. So you're going to stay like you'll stay in Colorado for a while and you'll just keep moving around, and because it's going to get cold soon. You've got a few months of like nice weather, and then Colorado gets pretty freezing cold, doesn't it? But I guess that's it. Like you've America's got so many different environments, so you can really, if you're looking for a new place to live, you can make it somewhere that you really appreciate. You know what? I reckon. I think it's been a really good chat tonight, and it, like I found it really beneficial for myself being able to actually go through some stuff for so long. It's really helped me clarifying things in my head and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, Happy Hermit says, yeah, it's starting to get cold. We may head towards the East Coast, maybe the, the Carolinas. Yep, that's that sounds awesome. So that's the beauty about being mobile. You can enjoy where you know you, I'd love to actually live like that for a while. Um, in Australia, we have these things called town camps, and they're like um, often free. So they're similar to a caravan park where you have showers and toilets and like some cooking facilities and things like that. And you can stay there for free. They just have a thing where you can only stay there for like 2 weeks at a time or something, or some say you can only stay for 3 nights or 4 nights, or there's rules with them, but they're free. so you can just travel around and, and we have lots of places that are pretty cheap, you know. The big cost is having the vehicle that can tow, and the and a good caravan. Like, you sounds like you got a good caravan and you're well set up. Happy Hermit says, "Yeah, that sounds incredible. I'm going to look them up. Are they like cabins?" Um, they don't have cabins. They're just like sort of like empty. They're just sort of like a camping area, a campground, and you've got to have your own tent or your own caravan or something like that. But they don't cost you any money to stay there. So, if you've got the setup, you can actually travel and just enjoy it. And national parks, to stay in a national park here in Australia, it's only like $5 a night, which is pretty cheap, I reckon. And in some states, like in New South Wales, the state next to me, if you pay like $100, $100 or whatever, that gives you a whole year where you don't have to pay. That's a year's worth of camping, so it's really, really cheap. So, like, if you're working online or something like that, then you can just do that and just live comfortably. Red Rose says, "Luke, yes, it has been great. There's been there's been much loving energy in the room here tonight. I'll talk to you later. Have a great week, everyone. I send you much love and light." Thanks for being here, Red Rose. And that's probably good timing too, because I was planning on ending the chat pretty soon, because I've got to go check mum, and Happy Hermit says, "Oh, okay, that's like our BLM land, which the Bureau, yeah, of BLM. I've heard that. So they're like they have free areas to park and set for a set amount of time. Yeah, that's it. Pretty much the same, you know. And they even have facilities like, water and toilets and things like that, showers. Not all of them, some of them pretty basic, but when it's free, that's awesome. But Happy Hermit says, "Yeah, I like paying for campgrounds with electrical, water, sewer hookups." Yeah, that makes it even better. Like, especially, having all that stuff set up so that, especially if you're working online like that, you need to have power. You don't want your batteries to run out and all that sort of stuff. So that's cool. Happy Hermit says, "Yeah, it was nice talking to you. I'll subscribe." Thanks, mate. That's nice. Nice of you to say that. I do sort of chats once a week, and like, I've got complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So, like, sometimes we talk about that stuff, but our chats are usually just talking about everything. So I hope to see you again, And it was nice talking to you as well, Happy Hermit. Red Rose says, "Yes, my friend." Happy Hermit says, "Good night, all be well." Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to send a few love hearts into the air while I'm about just before I close the stream. It's been a great night, everyone. And yeah, I've enjoyed it, and it was nice meeting you, Happy Hermit. And yeah, I'll do it again. We'll have chat stream next Sunday night again. Until then, Red Rose says, "Good night, Happy Hermit." I'm just about to shut the stream, Red Rose. So thanks for being here as well. And anyone else who's in the stream, it's not in the chat, thank you for being here, and hope you've enjoyed the conversation tonight. Red Rose says, "Good night, Luke." Good night, Rose. Thank you for being here. It's been awesome. So until next time, cheers.